The 25th Hour Radio Show.
Mike, first of all, I want to thank you for joining me on the show today. It's a pleasure having you, sir.
Well, thanks for having me.
Mike, the tradition on this show is that I start off by asking a few questions about the guest's history. And you being the manager of the Southern Illinois Miners, let's talk about what got you involved with baseball in the first place. What was it about baseball that got you excited and initially drew you to the sport?
Well, I guess it goes back to playing as a kid. It's funny, I saw the movie Sandlot again recently, and that was my life from the time I was a little boy. And I woke up, and we had all of our neighborhood kids, and we went to the park and played baseball. And if there weren't enough, then right field was out. And if you had even less than that, you played up against the school, and you drew a box for the strike zone, and you used a rubber ball, and you put your bikes out for the doubles and triples and home runs were. And I mean, that's kind of how I started growing up. And if it was too rainy out, there was a game back then called Stratomatic, which not a lot of people knew, but it was a kind of a strategy game for baseball, and was probably the thing that got me started first with understanding the concept of sabermetrics and all the things that go into that part of the game.
So at what point in your life did the opportunity present itself for you to become part of the professional aspect of the game, where it's not just a game anymore, but also a business?
Well, a couple things happened. I'd coached my sons for a number of years in Little League, and had a number of really great young pitchers. And I took it really as an important part of my life to learn pitching, to learn mechanics, how the body works, so that I could take care of these young guys and not hurt them as a quote, volunteer coach at that time. And so I kind of became known as a pitching guy. I got a call from a junior college coach, and he asked me if I'd be interested in being his pitching coach. Had never done guys that age before. I did kids, and I said, well, I'll try it in the fall. And liked it. It went great. Had fun. I was his pitching coach for 3 years. He retired, and I took over the program. About that time, a friend of mine had introduced me to a man named Art Stewart, who was then a special advisor to the general manager of the Kansas City Royals. And they were looking for an assignment associate scout to cover the Chicago area. And so I had the chance to go to scout school and learn major league scouting. And so when my college team wasn't going, I was scouting professionally. Through that, I met a guy named Matt Noakes, who's a former 10-year big league, major league catcher, and he had gotten an opportunity to manage the Joliet Jackhammers professional minor league team, and called and offered me a job as his third base coach and bench coach. I did that for a year. The next year, I was made the pitching coach as well. And the third year, I took over player personnel. And so each year, I was getting more and more experience. And I got just really lucky in that our assistant general manager at Joliet got an opportunity to be the president of the Sioux Falls Canaries and wanted me as his manager.
You know, having that opportunity and taking on the numerous roles in baseball that you have had, you know, garnishing that experience that you were talking about, you know, including managing the other teams. When you found out there was a managerial position to be filled for a new pro team in Southern Illinois, what was the attraction for you to apply for that position?
Well, our general manager at Joliet had purchased a team in this league, and he had recommended me to Eric Haig, who then was the president of the team. He was coming to Chicago, asked if I was interested in interviewing for the job. I did some quick Google search. There wasn't a lot on it other than to know what some initial plans were. But I had my own plans. I had my own ideas as to if you were starting a team from scratch, how would you do it? So I wrote a book. It was about an inch thick, and it had sections in it based on what I thought were the 8 critical areas to build a dynasty, how I would do it in phases over a 5-year period of time. A week later, I interviewed with Eric, and a couple days later, they gave me an offer, and I've been here ever since.
You know, and I want the listeners to know who might not be aware just who the Southern Illinois Miners are. Now, you're not a Major League Baseball team. You are a professional baseball team who's part of the Frontier League. Could you give a brief explanation of what the Frontier League actually is?
Sure. We are very much just like any other professional minor league baseball team. The only difference is we are not connected with a major league team per se. All major league teams can use our players. And so over the course of our 9 years, 42 minors have left us and gone on to different major league organizations, including 3 that have reached the major leagues.
Mm-hmm.
2 are in the major leagues right now.
So you and the Miners have already won one Frontier League championship in 2012, and you'll be making a run for this year's championship, having clinched the Eastern Division title. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we won the division last year as well, and we're able to play well enough to get it this year, and we'll have a war ahead of us in the playoffs coming up.
Now, what is it about the 2015 Miners that makes them so special from a manager's perspective?
Boy, these guys really get it. They get what we're about. And I think part of that may have been at the very beginning of this season, we took all of our guys down into an active underground coal mine. And I wanted them to know what the name Miners meant, what it stood for, and what this region was all about. And from day one, these guys bought into that being a miner was special, that this was a special experience. They had a responsibility to each other and to all of us to help make this a special year. And there are a lot of years that we kind of feel as a coaching staff that we want to win more than they do. This is a rare exception of a group of guys that really want to win just as bad as the coaches do. They take losses just as hard as we do, and they enjoy the wins like we do. So it's a really special group, and I really, really want to win a ring with these guys so that we always will have something together.
Mm-hmm. Now, the playoffs are sort of a different animal than the regular season. You usually have a bigger crowd, which puts more attention on the players. You know, there's a definite change in atmosphere, which could work for, and against the player. As a coach, how do you keep your players focused at playoff time?
Well, I think you lead up to some things. First of all, we've played at this point, I want to say, near 41-run ball games this year. And there's good and bad to that. The bad is that I'm having to take more Nexium for my stomach. The good is that we've won the majority of those games, and they have gotten used to playing in pressure situations every day. Playing for the Miners is not an easy thing, and I say that up front to a lot of guys because our daily expectation to win is off the charts. You don't go through the motions here. A game is not just a game. We expect to win every game. And so that daily pressure honestly makes playoff pressure pretty easy. The difference is that in the playoffs, everything is magnified. Every pitch that's thrown, every bunt that you have to get down, and it will come down to the littlest things. And so as we prepare for the playoffs, we're preparing for every possible little thing that can happen. And when that does, hope that we can execute it the right way, that it won't be from a lack of preparation.
Now, being the 25th Hour radio show is more of a variety talk show than sports specific, I want to make sure I give you the opportunity to talk about what you do during the off season. You operate your own business, correct?
Yes, I do. I've been very fortunate that for 23 years, I have been described as a corporate motivational speaker, where I go into companies and have had a chance to speak to some of the greatest companies in the world and the smallest companies that have the greatest culture. And so I do presentations on branding within a company. I do a kind of an employee motivation type program. And then I do one for management personnel on how do you create a championship culture. And I make them fun and engaging and fast-paced. And as a result, I've had a lot of companies that bring me back and bring me back often. And to be able to be a public speaker for 23 years, it takes a lot of practice. And so that people want to bring you back again and again.
Absolutely. Now, this right here, Mike, is a loaded question, and I'm going to let you skate around it. What do you enjoy more, the baseball or the speaking?
Oh, I'll be very blatant about it. I love both for entirely different reasons. And right about the time when, quite honestly, I'm really tired of 22 to 27-year-old young men and living on a bus and living in not the best hotels. I get to then go fly first class and speak in front of great audiences and stay in the most beautiful hotels in the world. So it's two entirely different lives completely. And right about the time when I'm really tired of the grind of speaking during the winter, I get to go to a baseball field every day and enjoy the enthusiasm of 24 really great guys.
Well, that sounds great, Mike. You know, as far as social media and website, where can people go to get more information about yourself and the Miners?
SouthernIllinoisMiners.com. And there's a lot of information on there. I'm on Facebook as well. They can just plug in Mike Pinto, and I'm on there and, try to keep all the fans and people that follow me up to date on what's going on, not only with my business, but with everything that goes on with the Miners as well.
Mike, is there anything else you'd like to add that I might have failed to mention before we sign off?
Probably just the fact of I think we as coaches and players in Southern Illinois have been incredibly blessed with, we have the best stadium in the league. It's not even close. I don't know if the fans really appreciate the tremendous financial investment that the Simmons family put in. I am the luckiest guy on earth to have, and I describe always as the single best job in professional baseball. I have tremendous owners who give us the financial support to do anything we need and to do it right. And we have fan support of some really great fans that love this team. They follow us around. We were just up in St. Louis and Gateway, and a boatload of fans were in the stands cheering for us. So I'm a really lucky guy, and I think our fans are lucky. Our players are lucky to have the fans we do.
Well, Mike, it's been a definite pleasure speaking with you. I want to wish you and the team the best of luck in the playoffs and the best of luck in your personal career as well.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
The 25th Hour Radio Show.